I can't hear you. There you go. Gail, give me a pen. I'm sorry.
All right, looks like we're having trouble with the audio. All right, did you have that docket?
Matt, I got something with Gibson on it today, and I don't get on the document.
Yeah, it's an early review.
Well, I knew that, but
I sent a report yesterday. I don't know if you represent Dad, probably, don't you? Mike, did you see my email at 1 o'clock?
Oh, Dr. Louder?
Yeah.
Matt, to be frank with you, well, we're on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think it matters, but I'd just like to discuss before we go through it.
I agree with you. I don't think you really need it.
So before we go on the record, we are live streaming, but we're not on the record yet. I've got someone in the waiting room that says Devon's. We have a Devon in one of the cases coming up.
Yes, that'd be my client, Devin Lemble, with Dominic Toll, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Set for early review.
All right. And let's see. And then I've got a phone number. I'm going to guess that's Rebecca. It looks like it might be. Is that you, Rebecca?
It is me. Good morning. How is everyone doing?
good. How are
Good.
I've been better, but hanging in there.
Okay, Shannon put us on the record. This first case up this morning is Azariah Suddeth. Mr. Brown, I see you're the LGAL.
That's
This
correct.
was the mom, ed neglect case where mom failed to appear. Last week, the notice I sent out said if she fails to appear today, I'm going to issue a bench warrant. So I don't see her. Let me check on the name just to make sure.
Coppernoll.
Coppernoll, okay, there's no Coppernoll in the waiting room.
I do know, Judge, from dealing with one of her children in juvenile court that they have had some home issues. So I'm just guessing mail may not have gotten to her. I just, that's the only thing that I can think of.
Well, the way she's been unresponsive to the early truancy person, JL Richardson. She's been unresponsive to the school. The child clearly is not going to school or not participating. I don't know anything else to do other than indicate that we're going to issue a bench warrant. We got to get her attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Shannon and I will be issuing a bench warrant in this matter. We will schedule the next pretrial as soon as we can get her attention. Okay, next up is Christian Gibson. Let me let Ms. Blair in. Oh, okay, the father's in jail. We need to call the jail and have him brought to the meeting room. What's Dad's name, Shannon? Shane Gibson. Oh, good morning, this is Judge LaFlamme. Was hoping to get Shane Gibson in here. The problem is my Polycom is not working today. I think you can still dial into my meeting room though, and I'll pick up on my computer. So if you could have him dial in.
All right, we will get him going for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'll give the Polycom another try. Usually when we're having trouble in the morning, it's a bandwidth issue. Too many courts signing on at the same time. No, no luck. Okay, we're gonna have to wait for Dad to be brought in. As soon as I see him appear, we will get rolling on this one.
Ms. Blair, do you know if the mother was going to participate?
She indicated yesterday that she was going to. I did just text her to see if she was on or trying to get on.
I talked to her about 5 minutes ago. She said she was going to.
What's her name?
Courtney Whitney.
Okay, I'll let her in.
Goodness.
Jeez.
All right, Ms. Whitney is present.
Hello.
Good morning. We're waiting for Mr. Gibson to log in from the jail. Usually they're pretty prompt. If he doesn't show up soon, we might move on to the Dominic Toll matter while we're waiting. Oh, here we go. Okay, looks like we've got everyone here.
Okay. Oh, this is, hold on. I have to give you a message. Yeah, the message says, please relay this info to you from CPS. Had to do an emergency review hearing. Nothing serious. It seems to be getting taken care of. The CPS workers with you, okay? All right? You're up.
Okay, looks like we've got everyone here.
Hello.
Mr. Way, you're muted.
Sorry, Matt Way, Prosecutor's Office.
Jade Blair, DHHS.
Mike Kelly on behalf of the mother, Miss Whitney.
Ivan Brown on behalf of the father.
Rebecca McCleskey, guardian ad litem.
Okay, and Mr. Gibson is present and Ms. Whitney is also present, Shannon.
Yes.
Okay, this was a short notice hearing. Ms. Blair, can you bring us up to speed on the issues?
Yes, absolutely. So at our last hearing, it had been discussed, Courtney Whitney's substance abuse had been addressed with the court. There was concerns as it was still happening. Since then, we set her up with random drug screens, and there was a plan to get her started and actually complete a substance abuse test before Thanksgiving. Those things did not happen during the month that she was scheduled to call in for random drug screens. She had only called in twice. I know transportation ended up being an issue for Miss Whitney as her car is currently out of service. But we had tried to figure out other ways to get it. As of yesterday, she started services with Families First, who's going to be helping her with the transportation issue and making sure that she's getting to those drug screens and to the substance abuse screening. But because it was such a concern at the last review hearing, we wanted to bring it forward to the court and make sure that they were aware of what was happening and kind of, let the parents know that this is a serious matter and it needs to be addressed.
Are you confident with the engagement of Families First? Excuse me, have controls in place to make sure that not relapsing in substance abuse issues?
I am. Courtney was very engaged when we met with her worker yesterday. We had our first meeting yesterday. She has her second one set up today, and they're starting to work on their goals. I am very hopeful that it will be successful for her at this point. It seems like the best option to try to get her and continue her in that engagement.
Mr. Kelly, doesn't look like they're asking me to make any changes at this time. Is there anything you'd like to put on the record?
I would just indicate to the court that I spoke to my client this morning. She had indicated to me about her conversations with a caseworker and her understanding of what is expected of her. So I think we are in a good place moving forward. So I'd have no objections or nothing to add beyond that, Your Honor. Thank you.
So, Mr. Gibson, I muted your device because there seems to be some feedback coming through it. You can still hear me okay, can't you? Okay. Mr. Brown, was there anything you wanted to add?
I would just like to reiterate to my client, the report indicates that you haven't really engaged, that it's really imperative when you're released to engage in and work with the caseworker. And number two, please keep me apprised if there's any change in your telephone numbers when you are released. So if I have to reach you, I will be able to get that.
Oh, really? Well, we have the video that'll be available if producing the record becomes a problem in the future. Okay, so go ahead, Ms. Blair.
I did want to just address one thing regarding Shane as well. There is concerns that there's a PPO in place and he's continuing to send messages to Courtney through, I don't know if it's an email system through the jail. At this point, it would be imperative not to have that communication in order to not break that PPO. There should be no PPO violating during it. And Ms. Whitney has indicated that it causes her, it has to have triggering reactions when she does get those messages from him. So if it could just be relayed to the court that is happening. I just wanted to make everyone aware of that as well.
Just a second.
The only way that I was able to even have the email system here in the jails when she added me on the outside of this jail. And that's the only way that I was even having any kind of contact with her. But other than that, I get released on the 23rd of this month, so just for the record.
All right, well, Mr. Gibson, it is imperative upon your release that you immediately get a hold of Ms. Blair and make arrangements to begin engaging in services. And Ms. Whitney, if Mr. Gibson's emails are troubling you and you have a way to turn them off, I suggest you do that. And I would reiterate the concerns of the worker. Our sincere desire is for you to remain with your children in your custody. We want to make sure that it's done safely. So that means you have to be vigilant concerning any potential for relapse. You have to be vigilant to make sure that there's no potential for exposing your children to domestic violence. And we hope you do well. We're probably already scheduled for a review hearing.
February 2nd.
February 2nd at 9:45. I hope things go well with families first in the home. Anything else the court needs to address this morning?
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. That concludes our hearing.
Thank you.
Today? Is it really? Yes. And I'm going to keep trying the Polycom. Peter is off taking some final exams, so I can't have him trying. Next up is Dominic Toll. Still no luck with the Polycom. Shannon, I'm going to try turning my volume up a little. And maybe I'll bring my microphone. I don't know which one of these is the one that does the pickup, but I'll bring them both. Hopefully, that'll help a little bit. Let me turn it right, but if I got this turned, let me turn the volume up a little. Probably blast this out. Okay, let's see. I got Samantha Toll. Devin Trimble, let me get him in. And let's see, Taryn Widener. Okay, this is the matter of Dominic Toll. And let's see, counsel, state your appearances, please.
Railway Prosecutor's Office. It looks like the worker, Taryn Widener, is still connecting to audio, Your Honor, but she is present.
Okay.
Rebecca McCluskey for Samantha Toll.
Matthew Hotchkiss for Devin Lumble.
Both Samantha Toll and Devin Limble are also present.
Ivan-
And Taryn Widener, sorry, Mr. Brown.
Ivan Brown, LJL. I was a little late on the uptick there.
Okay, Mr. Brown, how's Dominic doing?
Very well. This is an early review hearing requested by Mr. Hotchkiss regarding Mr. Lemble, I believe it's parenting time. So I did not, we just had a review hearing a month ago and I had significant contact with the grandparents. So I did not contact them. I've been gone. I just got back late yesterday afternoon. But I have no concerns with the grandparents. They seem very attentive to Dominic. At the last hearing, if I can refresh the court's mind, I was tasked by the court with contacting the therapist regarding the injuries that occurred to Dominic. And my concern, we had a big discussion about this, that how can we move forward without a recognition of the injuries that occurred to Dominic. I don't want to say by the mother, but an explanation of how they occurred. Do you recall that?
I do now.
Okay. So I did make contact with the therapist, and when I talked with her, much to my dismay, the therapist had not read or been provided any of the court documents, medical records. She knew absolutely nothing about the actual facts of this case, which I found troubling. How do you conduct therapy when you have no understanding of what the case is about? So Mr. Way emailed her all of the case documents. I did get an email that she had reviewed them. I told her to contact me when she's reviewed them so we can talk again. She indicated to me 3 weeks ago that she would not have any time. Her appointments were booked up for some period of time. And then she contacted me while I was gone via email and said, when do you want to talk? And I said, well, I won't be available until 12:15. So hopefully this week I can touch base with her and to get some more understanding now that she's reviewed the documents, how she wishes to proceed in her therapy. Thank you.
And your reason for wanting to talk to her is to understand that she is addressing whatever situation could have resulted in these injuries to Dominic?
Yes, the therapist reports to me that mom has indicated that these were, don't quote me, but from recollection, that these were a rash. There is absolutely no way that these are a rash. So that further troubles me that it's being reported to the therapist that these are a rash that were on 22 injuries to Dominic. So I don't know where we stand, whether the therapist is addressing the injuries over the last 3 weeks after she reviewed all the case materials that Mr. Way sent her. And that remains to be seen. So hopefully she is, and she assured me that she is not a namby-pamby therapist, that she will confront the issue if indeed she finds it appropriate with the materials she's read.
And Mr. Hotchkiss, you had an issue you wish to address?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe there's really a couple of issues. If the court recalls, The reason for this early review, while it was my request, was due to the court having a finding that an early review might be necessary should my client not be granted unsupervised parenting time. That unsupervised parenting time has not occurred. It's my client's position that in the month that has followed the last hearing, there's been no negative updates, absolutely none. He's completed parenting class. He's attempted to. They've switched the parenting class. He's re-enrolled in that. They've switched workers. He's engaged in anger management appropriately. And at every step of the way, he's been met with nobody having a recommendation for him in regards to what he can improve on. There's no request for improvement. It's just go through the motions in a cookie cutter fashion. And even though there's never been an allegation of him being an improper parent, there's never been an allegation with him being inappropriate with Dominic, we are just making him go through the motions and saying, these are things you need to do because everybody has to go through with them. So we make him jump through these hoops, and it has nothing to do with his parenting. There's been no, oh yes, you can improve this or you could do this better. There's been nothing. He's been excellent with Dominic, and Dominic has, in the relationship, has thrived. He's been more than appropriate with him. It's the placement is with his mother. My clients provided all of the goods for Dominic. If there's anything that is in her home that's appropriate, he's paid for it. He's provided for it. He's been an outstanding father. And so at this juncture, I would request that he be granted placement of Dominic because of how well he's done. If the court's not inclined to grant placement today, then I would certainly request that we have an order granting unsupervised parenting time for Mr. Lemble because of the outstanding job that he's done. And I hate to see him and his efforts thwarted due to the case taking on this cookie cutter approach where he just needs to go through the motions. There's never been an allegation against him towards Dominic. So I think it appropriate in this matter to reward him for his successful efforts in his endeavors. I do want the court to note that I was just informed this morning that a PPO, I think, was issued in relation to my client against Miss Toll for an outburst, an incident that occurred, I believe, in November. And as a result of that, he feels obviously unsafe in that regard. So he, again, wants to put forth an argument for placement of Dominic to ensure his safety and his well-being moving forward, Your Honor. So, and he would also like to note that he resides with a caseworker who is a mandatory reporter. That woman is his girlfriend, fiance. So he wanted to add that as an extra layer of protection, that moving forward, there would be individuals in the home that would certainly supply the court with any information moving forward. So just wanted to state that on the record, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Widener, what remaining concerns do you have about Mr. Tremble and whether he should be allowed unsupervised parenting time or whether the court should place the child with him?
So in regards to Devin Limble, the agency would still like to see the recommendations from Dr. Louder in her psychological assessment. At this time, we still have not received that. And also with Mr. Limble, we would like to see him benefit from his anger management classes. And at this time, I believe that Mr. Limble has not started those anger management classes. I contacted Mr. Hampton on December 4th in regards to whether he received the referral for Devin. And Mr. Hampton reached out to Devin via phone and he did not receive anything back from Devin. I reached in when I had a parenting meeting with Devin. It was addressed that Devin has been using his girlfriend's phone number for case-related information. So I did provide Mr. Hampton with Devin's personal phone number.
Just to update the court, I hear what the caseworker is saying. It's my client's position, and I believe it is true that he has been in contact with Mr. Hampton and has engaged in 2 sessions to date in regards to the anger management. So he is engaging, and I believe that his last appointment was yesterday or sometime. It would be sometime this week. Would be another appointment. So he is engaging. Just wanted to know that.
Was that information that you didn't have, Ms. Whiteman?
No, that was not information that I had. I did reach out to Steve on 12/8 when I did provide him with Devin's personal phone number, and I did not receive anything back from Steve.
Could I be heard, Your Honor?
Go ahead, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. I just want to note that Mr. Lumble was given, or the agency was given discretion for unsupervised parenting time, not until, as far as I can tell, 11/3. I want to, yes, that's what I have, because I don't think the court was inclined to give it at disposition, which followed the trial in September, because of how horrific the testimony was in that. So my notes then say there was a request for unsupervised parenting time 20 days later. And it appears that was before he was even engaged in anger management. Attending 2 anger management classes does not, to me, change a whole lot. We need to see a lot more consistency. We need to see him actually go through a program. I don't agree at all that this is some cookie cutter approach. Given how serious the allegations were, we definitely needed a psych eval. We definitely need some sort of anger management. And to, I guess, turn around in 20 days and say unsupervised parenting time hasn't happened just doesn't fly with me. I think that we need to continue to see how things progress. The agency, I believe, is asking for continued discretion for unsupervised parenting time, and I think that's more than appropriate. Thank you.
And Mr. Brown, what is your viewpoint?
Well, I would like to know some more facts regarding this recently enacted personal protection order, whether nobody's let me know, whether this was witnessed by someone. Even if the facts do not arise to the level of a personal protection order, if there was a yelling and screaming match between Mr. Lemble and Miss Toll, that doesn't give me good feelings that there's a good sense of judgment. So without knowing those facts, I'm not going to say that it was warranted, but I'd like to know what happened with that implementation of the personal protection order. Some judge thought it rose to the level of being serious enough to put their signature on it. So I really would like to know what's in there.
I'd be happy to address that, Your Honor, if you'd like me to.
I'm trying to pull it up.
Sure.
And I'm not seeing a lot of things getting scanned these days.
No.
Right.
But let me just see what I can find. It would appear that Judge Wilson granted an ex parte PPO to Ms. Toll against Devin Lemble on December 3rd. Let me see if I can actually pull up the file in OnBase. All right, I did review the petition itself. There are some pretty serious allegations in it, but they look like they're historical. It wasn't clear to me what prompted the request for a petition at the time that it was filed. But clearly, if what's in the verified petition is true, it would certainly suggest that Mr. Limble is in need of some anger management at a minimum.
Looking at the wrong case.
So,
I apologize, Your Honor. Is there, it was my client's contention, there's a PPO out, but it would be, the PPO was created by Mr. Lemble and it would be against Ms. Toll. Is that not reflected in your filings, Your Honor?
the one I just pulled up is a PPO granted to Ms. Toll against Mr. Lemble. I didn't look to see if there was a second PPO granted.
There is, Your Honor. I just found it in JIS.
Yes.
So there's competing PPOs that Judge Wilson apparently signed.
All right. Well, in any event, there's certainly enough concerns in Ms. Toll's verified petition that I would certainly like to see. I'm glad to hear that Mr. Lemble is engaged with a therapist to address the anger issues. But benefit from those issues, I guess, is going to be hard to determine until there's an opportunity to visit with the therapist and find out whether the therapist has any concerns. I think under these circumstances, I'm not comfortable ordering placement or unsupervised, but I will give continued discretion for unsupervised visits if Ms. Widener, after speaking with the therapist, is satisfied that the concerns have been addressed. Has Dr. Lauder met with Mr. Lemble? Are we just waiting on a report? Are we waiting on an
She
appointment?
did. She did the psychological evaluation and we're just waiting on the report.
Correct.
All right, well, and I definitely want you to see the results of her recommendations before you would exercise that discretion to grant unsupervised visits. It's very premature to be talking about directing placement at this stage.
I would just ask Mr. Way, if you are able to, I don't know what access you have to obtain those PPO documents, but prior to our February 2nd hearing, which is 6 weeks, if father does well, my recommendation probably would be for unsupervised. But I would like to see whether the facts of those are just historical. If you could obtain them, I would appreciate it.
Right. Would the court be able to send those? Normally I would, Mr. Brown, but we're probably not going to be in the office until after January. So I'm going to have to request it from somebody.
Okay,
certainly.
It's fine. I don't
Mr.
need
Brown,
it.
Mr. Brown, I can print those and then scan them to you.
There's no, I don't need them until close to our hearing. So I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to do that, but I appreciate it.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else on this file today?
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, our next review hearing is already scheduled for February 2nd at 9:15. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I will see you this afternoon at 1:15.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Spence, Austin, and Blevins Miners. So let me see, I've got to let in, send Mr. Lemble on his way. Miss Tyler. Let her in. I do, well, I've got one device in here. Let me see if that's one of the parents. Does anyone recognize her?
I think that's the mother. Is that right, Ms. Tyler?
Yes, I was muted. Yes, that's Adrian Blevins.
All right, I will rename. Okay, and are we expecting any fathers today? Looking at the list. Eric McClinton Austin, I don't see him. Lonnie Spence, I don't see. Vaughn Parker, I do not see. Counsel, could you each identify yourselves for the record?
That way, prosecutor's office.
Matthew Hotchkiss, LGAL.
Mia
Rebecca
Tyler.
McCluskey for. Sorry, Mia.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rebecca McCluskey for Adrian Blevins.
Mia Tyler for the Department of Health and Human Services.
Mike Kelly on behalf of Mr. Austin, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hotchkiss, how are these children doing?
Not very well, Your Honor. There seems to be some issues that are going on with behaviors in this matter. Fairly significant behavioral issues, I would note. I've attempted to get a hold of the mother, Adrian, but I was unsuccessful. I left a few messages for her, so I haven't had an opportunity to speak with her regarding the case. But I mean, there are allegations in here of using one of the children's urine during a drug screen. That to me is fairly significant. And more significant than that is that the kid's urine failed the drug screen. That's a pretty significant allegation to me, considering that it's a child failing a drug screen. That should not be possible by any stretch of the imagination. I understand that the safety plan was entered, but the children's behaviors just seem fairly significant to me, Your Honor. I don't know what the court's inclined to do. I'd have to agree with the recommendations in this case, but I did want the court to note that there are some significant behavioral issues moving forward. So I'd like to hear from anyone else on this case, but that's my position, Your Honor.
Which child was it that had the positive screen, Ms. Tyler?
It was Alexander.
Yep, it was Scott. Thank you. I was muted.
Yeah, no problem.
And Alexander is 8 years old?
Correct. Is he?
He's 8.
Yeah.
He's 8. Can I speak on this though?
Oh, I'd love you to speak on this, ma'am.
When he ingested the marijuana, he was not in my care. He was in his father's care. How he got the marijuana, I have no idea. This is why I was honest with CPS about me using his urine. And the only reason I use his urine is because I smoke marijuana myself. Do I afford marijuana for my children to even be able to get a hold of it? No, I do not. Is there marijuana around to my children to get a hold of at my house? No, there is not. At his father's, yes, there is. I have received a lockbox myself. As far as using his urine, yes, that is wrong. I have no excuses for that. But as far as him testing dirty for the marijuana, that was not me. He was placed in his father's care, and it did not happen in my care.
Why did you use his urine? I mean,
because I was trying to get a job, because due to marijuana not being fully legal through the states, some jobs don't accept you. So I used my son's marijuana or urine, thinking that he was clean. If I would have given him that, why would I have used his urine and set myself up? Like,
was this a drug test administered by the department?
No,
or was this a drug test for employment?
This is for unemployment through, actually, I can tell you exactly what place it is. It was through Excel Staffing. And that's how I found out.
So Excel staffing, you applied to Excel staffing. Excel staffing said you failed the drug screen. And then upon failing, knowing that you had used your son's urine, you immediately notified Miss Tyler of that?
Actually, I'm pretty sure my mother was the one that notified Miss Tyler. But when it was brought to my attention by the CPS workers, I was very honest with them and told them, and just like I just told you, if I knew and if I gave my son marijuana, I would have never used his urine at the employment place, period. I mean, it was wrong for me at the end anyways, and I will never do that again. But I did not give my son marijuana. I did not give my son marijuana. How he got marijuana, I have no idea.
So Ms. Tyler, you or somebody at the department investigate how exactly Alexander got his hands on marijuana?
Yes, that is correct. The allegations was actually called into the apartment and the CPS investigator investigated the case, and it is still undetermined where or how he ingested the marijuana.
Is Alexander having a regular parenting time with his father?
Yes, he was actually close with his father.
So, I'm sorry. So yes, Mrs. Blevins and Mr. Spence, they don't have any regular parenting time. So however, they work it out between themselves. Due to some other concerns, I did safety plan Alexander and the other two, the older two, Gracie and Bryson, with Mr. Spence. However, even though they were safety planned there, they were still going between Mrs. Blevins and Mr. Spence's house. I don't know like whose house he was actually at during that time. Both parents are saying that, of course, they're blaming the other person because, you know, he was with her or he was with him. So it's unclear. And then we did talk to Alexander and he didn't even realize that he had ingested anything. We went through a forensic interview and he disclosed nothing. So we don't know which parent's house he was at during the time or how he ingested the marijuana.
Ms. Blevins, do you utilize edibles when you're using marijuana?
No, I do not. I strictly smoke marijuana.
Do you know if Mr. Spence does?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Well, obviously this is very concerning. Safety planning the children at the home where it's possible they ingested the marijuana, I'm not sure is necessarily a good safety plan. I'm assuming that safety plan has been dissolved.
As during the time that the allegations came to the department, the children were no longer safety planned with Mr. Blevins. Mr. Spence.
Okay.
So Adrienne was, she was in between housing at the time, and she was trying to get some things stable as far as housing and daycare and a job. And so her mom agreed to keep the younger two, Hazel and Mateo. And then Mr. Spence agreed to keep the children that they have in common, which is Alex, Gracie, and Bryson.
All right. And you stand by the recommendations in your report?
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else to add to your report today?
Actually, I do. It was also brought to my attention of some recent DV behavior between Adrienne and Mr. Salisbury. And this happened at a hotel where they got into a DV incident and had a police contact. Now, Mr. Salisbury and Mrs. Blevins continue to exhibit DV behavior. Adrienne did report that Mr. Salisbury is currently at the mental hospital to address his mental health concerns. However, it would be best if Mr. Salisbury was ordered out of the home due to their continuous DV behavior.
He is already out of the home.
So then you wouldn't object to me issuing an order that he remain out of the home?
Yeah, I would like it to be court ordered because he's out of the home, and then after court, he's back in the home. And then we go back to the DV and then the mental health, and then he's out of the home. And then once that's addressed, then he's back in the home. So it's a pattern.
And Your Honor, I was working on a proposed order with the scale form that's used, and I can, if the court's inclined to do that, I can submit that this afternoon. If Ms. Taylor, I would just need the address that mom is at right now.
And Ms. Blevins, is it your plan to keep him out of the home?
I removed him out of the home when this happened, yes.
So is there any objection to that recommendation?
Nope, I am all for that.
No, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right.
Yeah.
Ms. McCluskey, anything you wanted to put on the record?
I was just going to state, I tried to reach my client, but she does not have a voicemail box that's set up, so I wasn't able to go over this court report with her. But if she's indicating that she has no objection to the court ordering him out of the home, I of course would not have an objection. Thank you.
All right, very well. I'm going to implement the recommendations, including the removal of Mr. Salisbury from this home. Mr. Way, if you would forward that order to Shannon, I would sign that in addition to the dispositional review order. I'll set our next review hearing for March 9th at 8:45.
Your Honor, could I just have Ms. Blevins please provide me with an updated cell phone number for you? I do not seem to have one that was active, or it went straight to voicemail, so I don't know what your most recent number is, ma'am.
517-257-2805.
I'm sorry, could you give that to me one more time, ma'am? 517?
257
257?
2805.
2805. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Tyler, could you just email me that information? Thank you.
The children, well, let's back up then. So which of the children are currently with the mother?
I currently have Alexander, Mateo, and Hazel full-time. And then Lonnie Spence has Gracie and Bryson. And we just do 50-50 on and off with the three.
So all of the children are in your care. They're just sometimes also in their father's care as well?
As far as the older three, yes. Alex, Gracie, and Bryson do go with their father, yes.
Can I interrupt for just a second? Mr. Austin sent me a message and he said he's waiting in the waiting room. He's one of, he's the father to Hazel. Austin.
All right, well, he wasn't there earlier. I do have a phone. Let me bring him in. I'm assuming that's who this is. He showed up late and I wasn't watching the.
Okay.
Is that him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, can you state your name, please?
Eric McClinton Austin.
Okay. Sorry we didn't bring you in sooner. You weren't present when I first started the case, and I wasn't keeping my eye on the waiting room. And when you logged in, you didn't log your name in. You just have the name of your device.
Okay.
So for future hearings, if you want to make sure I don't exclude you unintentionally, you have the ability to fill in your name on the screen, so I know who you are. That's very helpful to me.
All right.
Did you have any questions for the court? I realized you were unintentionally excluded from the hearing.
No.
Okay, my apologies, sir. We'll try to be more vigilant next time. Our next review hearing will be March 9th at 8:45. And I think that concludes this matter.
Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up. Angelica Towers. And let's see. Patricia McGuire, I do not see. Is another worker possibly on that file?
You might have an Amanda Worthington, Your Honor. I believe Angelica is participating in today's hearing, and that she was going to participate with her. Oh, yep, there it is, Worthington. Yep, right there.
But I'm still missing a worker, correct?
Correct.
Oh, here
I
we
don't
go.
know. Got her?
All right. She just logged in.
Okay.
All right, and let me make sure. We're not expecting Mr. Towers. Not here in any event. Okay, looks like we've got everybody here with an audio connection. If you could each identify yourselves for the record.
Matt Way, Prosecutor's Office.
Matthew Hotchkiss, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Patricia McGuire with NDHHS.
Amanda Worthington, Hawthorne Center social worker. Angelica Towers.
Hello, Angelica. Okay, and we don't have any attorneys for parents in this file.
Correct, Your Honor.
Is this a dependency petition?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, that explains. I'm gonna write that down just so I know that in the future. Okay, Mr. Hotchkiss, how's Angelica doing?
I think she's doing better, Your Honor. I had an opportunity to speak with Miss Worthington this morning regarding some updates. I know that Angelica has moved placements and locations sporadically, and I know that that's been tough on her. And everything that I've kind of discerned has said that she's certainly had some struggles in her young life. But it appears that the Hawthorne Center has been great for her. The reports right now are somewhat positive. She still struggles with interactions with other individuals. She gets into some altercations occasionally, which cause her to be restrained. So there are certainly still struggles and whatnot. But I think there's been alterations to her medications. I think that this new placement has been more beneficial for her, and there's certainly a hope for discharge and meaningful improvement. So I would say that while it's not a total 180, I think it's been a significant improvement for Angelica, and that she's been benefiting from staying at Hawthorne Center, Your Honor. Thank you.
So you're in support of the recommendation?
I am, Your Honor.
So Angelica, how do you feel about your current placement?
I'm doing better here.
That's good to hear. Is there anything you'd like to tell me or ask me this morning?
No.
Okay, and Ms. McGuire, do you have any updates, anything to add?
Just a couple of things, Your Honor. Not really big things, but updates just the same. So I did want to let the court know that I reached out to the expungement unit regarding Angelica's sister, Kayla. And they let me know that they're not working on any 2020 requests until 2021. They were unable to provide me a timeline at this time, but I will check in again with them once the new year comes. And then Samaritas has reached out to Hawthorne directly to reschedule the trauma assessment. And we can see Angelica's healthy. She's out of quarantine and negative for COVID. So I just wanted to let the court know that.
Great. It looks like this is a good place for you, Angelica. I think the recommendations are appropriate. I hope you continue to do well there. We will set our next review hearing for March 2nd at 9 a.m. Anything else the court needs to address today?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Angelica, take care. Good to see you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I won't be back.
Okay, and now we have a couple of post terms. Let's see, Skyly Grezikowski. Let's see. Jessica Urch. My Polycom is finally working. I gotta. I don't know what just happened. I just lost my screen. Wow. It looks like my computer shut off. I lost my screen. Okay, we got a feedback problem here. Let me see if I can solve it. Actually, you know what? I think the easiest thing is going to be to shut off the Polycom. Okay, let's try this again. Jessica Urch. And let's see, do we have an adoption worker here? Yes, looks like Kira Denton. Okay, looks like we've got everybody in. This is the matter of Skyly Grezikowski. Could you each please identify yourselves for the record?
Kira Denton, Wellspring Human Services. Jessica Urch, adoption worker from Lutheran Adoption Service.
Mike Kelly, guardian ad litem.
Mr. Kelly, how's Skyly doing?
Your Honor, I left a voicemail with placement and didn't receive a call back, which is a little unusual because they're really good about getting back with me. However, I have reviewed the report and the recommendations. I have no objection to the recommendations. I'm in agreement with the ultimate goal of adoption. Is that projected adoption date in January still realistic? Do we know?
I believe it'd be more looking into February now, early February.
Okay.
Ms. Urch or Ms. Denton, do either of you have anything to add to your reports?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, looks like we're making good progress. Recommendations seem appropriate. We will set our next review hearing for March 9th at 8:45, and hopefully that will not be necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and lastly today, Isaiah Green. And let's see, that would be Samantha Wright. Right. Okay, this is the matter of Isaiah Green. Could each of you please identify yourselves for the record?
Samantha Wright, DHHS.
Mike Kelly, guardian ad litem.
So is Ms.
Lona Roberts' grandmother.
You're Isaiah's grandmother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Kelly, how's Isaiah doing?
Your Honor, the two phone numbers for whatever reason that I have for Miss Roberts, and I confirmed the correct number with the caseworker, and I reached her on it before, but for whatever reason it would not go through unless her number has changed. So I was unable to touch base with her to check in about Isaiah. However, I have reviewed the report and I'm in agreement with the recommendations. Thank you.
So Ms. Roberts, maybe you can tell me how Isaiah's doing.
Actually, he's doing fairly well. We have made arrangements for him to go into therapy, which we all agree that he definitely needs it. We've had some problems because he's Asperger's. We've had some problems with online school, but we've made arrangements for that to be resolved after the first of the year. But other than that, he's doing fairly well.
So have you made any efforts to file a petition for guardianship?
I've been working with Miss Wright. That's in the process.
I have all the paperwork ready for her. We're going to go through it this afternoon when I go visit Isaiah.
All right. Is this for an EPIC guardianship?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Roberts, you understand that with a guardianship through probate court, that there's no funding available to help you through the agency. You understand that?
I do understand that, yes.
And you believe you're going to be able to adequately provide for Isaiah without assistance?
Isaiah does receive some Social Security from his father who recently passed. So we'll be able to manage it.
Because we were told that she wouldn't be able to get both as far as receiving the SSI and a subsidized guardianship.
Right.
Oh, I see. I wasn't aware of that, but I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very good. I'm glad to see that this is about to move into place. I'm sure that guardianship will be assigned to me. And assuming the paperwork gets filed fairly soon, I would expect that would be granted long before our next review hearing, which would be March 9th at 8:45. But you may certainly proceed with the guardianship paperwork. Anything else the court needs to address this morning?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. That concludes our hearing. Have a good